So I want to start with something smaller. One thing that I haven't been able to do thus far is boot as a hard drive in QEMU. We've been doing floppies the whole time instead of a hard drive. And I did a little bit of research on that, looked up a little bit. So hard drive should be drive number 80. Right now in the boot sector, we're using just drive number 0, which would be the A drive in DOS, or a floppy. The first floppy drive is A, or it's drive number 0 traditionally in the BIOS. A regular hard drive, which in modern Windows is the C drive, C:, drive, that would be drive number 80 in hex. So we can do a couple of things here if we want to change the use of the hard drive. And I tested this earlier and it did work, but I didn't, I got rid of it. So I got to remember what I did. But instead of using 0 for the drive number, which is in DL when we use int13, DL is the drive number, we can use either 80 and hard code it, which I'll do first. Move DL, do 80 in hex, if I can type, which I can. We'll change this DX to DH. And we'll also do this down when we load the kernel. Right there. So 80 should allow, seeing this as a hard drive instead of a floppy drive. Anywhere else in our code, like when we're printing the file table contents or loading and saving to disk, like in the editor, we will also have to change the drive number. Right now this is just in the boot sector. But if we change it to 80 and we run it, if we run, like we used to do, was FDA for floppy disk. So I don't think this will run anymore. If we try it with a floppy, it doesn't. So, but if we do HDA, it should now run for hard drive A. Okay, so it boots now on the hard drive, but not on the floppy disk. I wanted to move towards emulating a hard drive instead. If there is some inbuilt limitation to limit to 1.44 meg floppy or whatever, this would not happen anymore. So technically right now this is a 1.44 meg size hard drive. So, but in the future we can try to be agnostic towards hard drives and not floppy disks. I don't want to write a floppy disk controller because people don't really use those anymore, but maybe if there's interest in that 3 years down the line, I'll write it. I don't know. But we loaded that. We can do things like print registers. Everything's fine. Other than stuff like directory and loading from the disk, because those are still hard-coded to use drive number 0. So that's not going to work, and it'll probably lock up, which it did. Okay, so another way to do this is to know, you just have to know that when you first boot up, DL should automatically contain the drive number when your boot sector is being executed. When the first code is executed at 7C00, from whatever initial setup process the computer does, DL should have the drive number. So instead of doing 80 here, we can just keep it by default. DL will have the drive number implicitly. But I also kind of want to save that in a certain area, so let's just add a little data section or variables or whatever. And call it drive number. It'll be 1 byte. And we're just going to move DL into that. So we'll move byte drive number. Once again, I can't type. Where is the minus key? There it is. DL. All right, we'll save that off. And then we'll reset it down here, just in case. I don't know if DX is reset from the int13 up here, but in case it is, we'll just restore it here. And I don't really need to put the byte there as well, because the assembler will know DL is 1 byte, but that's all right. But this should do the same thing. We're saving it off to a drive number variable and we're restoring it. So you don't need to know if it's int80 or what. If you're just saying, I want to take whatever drive we have, we're assuming it's correct for all our data being on there. Let's take our initial drive and just load from that. The interesting part is if we use the regular thing and say it's a floppy disk, it works. So that's interesting. And then all our stuff will work. However, we should be able to change the make file. And instead of saying it's a floppy disk, we can say, it's a little different. We can say media equals disk. And this will kind of do something similar to -HDA for QEMU. We just say, drive, same format, raw, same file, index 0. If we did index 1, it would be like HDB, but we're doing index 0. So we should be able to run it the same, and we can. Okay. So it'll take whatever drive number we're giving it. It says, hey, that's good. Now this won't work because hard drive expects drive number 80 traditionally. So we need to somehow pass. I'm recording. All right, we need to somehow pass the drive number to the kernel. I guess there's a few ways. We could either push it on the stack and restore it initially, or we can put it somewhere in a memory location that we then load. I might just go ahead for now. The easy way would just be pushing it on the stack before we jump. So I'm just going to do that. We can just move it to DX, I believe. Well, let's just do this. We'll do this again, and we'll move it in again. Well, we moved the stack by this point, so the stack should be set up. It'll be on the stack. I'm just going to push DX, so... Okay, and then in the kernel, we'll have it available. Let's put it in another thing down here somewhere. Call it drive number again. It'll be DB0. Although maybe it'd be easier making it a word. I don't know. But before we do this, I want to restore it. Before we do this, we'll do save drive number off stack. So let's pop it into DX and move into there, DL. All right. Okay, that way the stack is still clean at this point before we do anything. Okay, so now we kind of have to change wherever we load and save from the disk. So wherever we're referencing stuff, I'm going to change it before I forget. And 13, and we have int 13 down here. We need to do the same thing. All right, those are the only places in the kernel. Okay. We will probably have to add it as an extra parm for our like load and save file and everything. I don't know. Let's see if this works so far though. Okay, make ran. This works. Directory doesn't work, so we should be able to load the file table. Found but not loaded. But I can definitely see if that affects this. That resets it, and then we're going. Okay, so why doesn't that work? That's this down here. Well, we could see what happens if we print out what it is, right? We could try that. Popped into DX, we could call print hex, and then just see what's there. So it says drive number 0. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting, okay. Maybe pushing and popping doesn't work. But this should work as far as going off the stack. We pushed it and we popped it. I don't know why that doesn't work. P+6. Oh, we have to send the cursor stuff to print hex. Yeah, it's 0. That's weird that it's 0 though, huh? Okay. That's alright. Yeah, let's put it at some memory location, see if it works better there. It's okay. Let's put it somewhere like 6,000. I don't know. Maybe, I don't even know if this works. If I do like 6,000. Wonder if I can do this. I don't think I can do this. This seems really, really bad and dumb. I do not think this will work. No such file or directory. No. Invalid address. That's what I thought. Okay. Let's see. So before we set all this up, let's do that. All right. So 600. We'll put in ES. That's fine. Well, XOR DI. So I wonder if we can move bytes like this. Yes, it does. Okay, that's all right. Okay, we'll do this. We can do store string byte. That'll move it into there. Yeah, that'll move it into there. And that prints 0, that's fine. All right, so it should be at 6,000. So we're not messing with that. We'll just do the same setup because we change it to 2,000 there. DS, we can load it with that. Okay, I'm just seeing what it equals. So if it's at 6,000 correctly, then we should be able to load it with load string byte. And that loads from DSSI register, segment offset. It should return the correct one. Put it in DX and then we'll call print hex. Nothing prints out. Now that's interesting. So that's weird, but okay. We could just set it up in the register. Why am I overcomplicate everything? That's all right. Don't worry about any of this. Let's just do this. Instead of doing all this garbage, it's saved in the drive number variable. So I'm just gonna move it here. There we go. All right, pass it in DL, then we'll jump to it. Okay. And then we'll just move it into here. This will be the kernel's drive number parm. This one. And we'll have it saved there and there. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to read in the file table now. Should be able to load it. Should's a good word though. Directory doesn't print, okay. Found but not loaded, it should load it. Well, let's work on getting the directory working first before I debug this. Let's just work on the other thing. It's the only part it has, yeah. Only part where that's at, all right. So I'm assuming it's 80 if we're trying to simulate a hard drive, so let's just see if it's 80. Yeah, it is at 80, okay. But the file table doesn't print. Oh, that's weird. I'm assuming this didn't work. So it's passing 0, but we need 80. I'm just gonna make it 80. This drive number isn't working. Let's see if it works if we just do 80, right? Let's just try that. Let's do move dx 0080. All right, so that pulls up. Yeah, we have to hard code 80. We'll just hard coded the 80 for a hard drive. That's fine. That works. I'm all right with doing that. And 13H in here. So where all are we doing this? File ops, boot sector, the kernel. We already did that. So file ops. Okay. Let's assume we're passing it in DL. DL is the drive number, so should be file table drive number, not file drive number, but I'm not doing that. So before we call that, we'll move into DL. Drive by number, okay. That still works, all right. So I need to change file ops. File. That's the last thing I need to change. Which is good, I just made it 1. So, okay, that's here. It's not going to be disk 0 anymore. Well, that might be good in the future if we have separate disks anyway, so I probably do want to do that. Let's make this file drive number, which is going to cause errors with the other thing. So this will be file table. Drive number. All right. Just make sure that still works okay. This we did file drive number in the file ops. So let's assume that's still going to be in DL. Just assume we pass that in. It's annoying, but this might come in handy in the future if we do multiple disks somehow. Then we can pass in the drive number for the drive we want to load from. So maybe this will be good for that. More modular. I don't know. It is a lot more stuff to type though, but that's fine. We'll make it agnostic somehow. Drive agnostic. Drive number agnostic. File. Drive number. And 13's there. Where else we're doing here? And here. And down here, we do it in a lot of places. And here. And down here. XOR. A lot of places. I could do a global find replace. I know I'm not doing that. But maybe I XOR DL where we're not in this situation, so that would be bad, you know? More int 13s than I remember. There we go. Okay. Didn't really break anything. That's good. So we should be able to do everything, assuming we have the hard drive now. It is 80 right now because 80 is hard-coded. Let's see. We can load. Let's see if we can save. Test save file. Misspelled, of course. Test file 1. Save file error occurred. Beautiful. Now that's good. Can I load a file in the editor? Load file error occurred. Okay, why is that? because I'm not doing this in every single one. That's why. File drive number. Yeah. That needs to be in all of these functions. I did not put that in save or load file. I'm also not passing it when I'm calling this. It needs to go there. Where's the next one? Rename. Well, I'm pushing DX in here. Let's get rid of that. Don't worry about DX. We're messing with it, but we'll do this first. And then we'll move that into there. Just don't worry about it. SI, CX, and BX and rename, that's fine. DX as well. Ooh, nope, don't worry about it. We got lots of to-dos, of course. Okay, so every time we call something like that, we need to, use it. Let's see where we call it in the kernel. Gotta change a lot of stuff. I know we call rename, yeah. Do call rename, so when do we call it? Call it here. Save the drive number before we call it, all right. That's rename file. So we need it there as well. We don't have load or save, we do have delete and rename, okay. Let's just make sure those work right quick. So let's try renaming editor to edit. Yeah, rename CLC calculator to math. Okay, well rename works. Delete math. And that works. All right, cool. Editor, well, we'd have to pass it through to editor now, wouldn't we? We would, that's annoying. We'll do this, editor drive number. Okay, well. It is editor drive number. Okay, so where are we calling save file? Here, all right. And there. No, didn't save the line, that's all right. But that's assuming we have it set in DX before we go to editor. Oh, this is where it gets annoying. Okay. So the editor would be in this. So we could move it into here when we go to DX. I guess we'll do that for now. I was going to say we might have to move it to a memory location and load it, because we don't know when the user is going to go to this program, but if they're always going to go to a program here from the kernel, we can just do it in here. All right, so if we go to the editor, let's go to load. That doesn't work. Print file table. Ah, yes, because we're doing that. Yes, yes, yes. Make sure that's set up first. Nope. All right, so what is the issue here? Move DL to editor drive number. Okay. Does this far jump like reset DX or something? Maybe it does. I don't know why it would, but maybe it does. Let's find out. Let's find out. It's 0. Why is it 0? Let's see what it equals here, I guess. It's a 4. Oh, that's weird. That's probably why I'm doing this. So let's put the stuff up here. Just debugging stuff. Oh, that's at 80. So if it's at 80 here, I don't change DX in here. Bar jump is like resetting it somehow. Why is it doing that? We can try pushing stuff and see what happens. We can push DX and then go. And then pop DX immediately. And see what this says. That says 30. But why? Why would it be 30? Oh, whatever. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. It's just 0. I have to do it before there. That's, yeah. Alright. That says 80. This should say 80 when we pop it. But I guarantee it probably won't. That says 80, okay. What happens now if we do this? Now it works. Oh. I'm happy it worked. Oh, now it says not found. Found but not loaded. Nice, because we're assuming it's NDL. So when we return, we have to pass it in. That's annoying. Okay, end editor. Move byte drive number. So if I do it like down here, it doesn't work though? Let's see. Let's load the file table. Let's go back. No, it doesn't pass it back correctly. What if I do that? Push DX. And we'll do that, but then we also have to change the boot sector to do that. Well, it loads. Just see if something, okay, it works. Editor, load. Go back. Let's do a far jump instead of a normal one. So 80, okay. So it's 80 initially. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do for now, for a long time? I'm just not gonna deal with this. Somewhere, somehow, it's resetting the stack or clearing the registers or whatever on far jumps and calls. Even though I saved a memory here when we return from load or save file, it doesn't pass it in right. So I'm just not gonna deal with it. You know, I'm just gonna hard code things to like 80. So, and that's gonna be easier. We're just gonna like hard code things to 80. Get rid of that one as well. All right. That makes things easier on me. So we're just gonna do that. All right, this is gonna be 80. Right. Gonna worry about it. This is gonna be 80. I know I'm changing it all back, and I just spent like an hour and a half doing nothing on my end, so you know, keep that in mind. I will have to cut up the video a bit or cut out the previous part, depending if I want people to deal with this or not. I don't want anyone else to go through and type this crap out because I'm changing it, right? I don't need it there anyway. All right, but I'm pushing DX here, right? Yeah. We're not doing that. Here we're doing 80. And 13. Change that. This is also why I like Vim though. Pretty easy to repeat changes and search for things. Very nice. Even though I have a bunch of changes here. Anywhere else here? Okay. Alright, so let's just see if everything works now. Might not. Directory works. Make sure everything else does. Boot will work. Okay. And clear screen will work. So let's create a new other file, test. Oh, look, it's saved. Oh, look, it's there. So saving works. Let's load our test file. That looks to be working. Kernel. So this is wrong now. We're printing extra spaces when we're loading binary. So I got to change that. So that's something I didn't fix from last time. All right, so let's delete test file 1. ls isn't a command, free space. Let's rename calculator to math. Rename works. Okay, so we're good. Just hard code it to 80. It's a lot faster doing that. Oh well. All right, let's fix the editor then. Where we're loading hex files. I think it's load file hex. Yeah. Yeah, I'm incrementing right here. So let's just try that. Okay, it's still one too many. Alright, move 0. I got rid of the loop as well. Get rid of that line. Get rid of that. No, this is 2 spaces between everyone. Yeah. So this will move it forward 1. Second nibble will move it forward 1. And then we have increment, which I don't need to do that, or end of line, because that's handled inside of print character text mode. So we should only need to print a space. We don't need to go down one line. Yeah. So that makes it a little simpler, because that's already handled in the print character and print string text mode functions. We increment and we go down a line in those. We don't need to do it outside of those. If I can type, see if that made any difference. It might not have. Okay, that's closer. So it's, yeah, when it reaches the end, it goes down to the next line, but then we're printing a space no matter what. We don't need the jump iterate loop, it's right there. Let's compare cursor x to 0. If it is, we're going to go to iterate loop. Okay, there we go. That looks normal. That looks right. So if we're at the beginning of the line, we don't want to print the space. Elsewhere in the middle, we do, or up to the end. Okay, that looks correct. Oh, scrolling, yes. Let's implement scrolling. So on the screen, that doesn't scroll. We can use clear screen, reboot, shut down the commands. They still work like that, but it doesn't scroll down. So I wanted to implement scrolling, and that should only be in the print character and print string. Let's do print string first, because that's more likely to print a long string and go down below the bottom of the screen, right? So let's put it in here first. So scrolling on a conceptual level should be pretty easy. Implementing it, I'm not sure. But all we should need to do for scrolling is if the cursor is passing into, or if the cursor passes beyond the bottom row of the screen, which in this VGA text mode 3 is row or line 24, 0 to 24, 0 base. So if it goes beyond 24, whenever we increment cursor Y here, if it goes to 25, we want to scroll up, or well, yeah, we want to, well, basically. It's kind of like old computers had a roll up key, so they roll the screen up manually from the typewriter days, but if we want to scroll down, we basically need to, or an easy way to do it is to loop through everything that's on the screen currently, so lines 0 to 24, and move them up one. So I guess lines 1 to 24, we would move into 0 to 23, and then we can clear out the last line of the screen, which is line 24, and then type into that, if that makes sense. So we're basically offsetting the screen by 1, and taking lines 1 to 24, moving them into lines 0 to 23, and that will effectively move the screen up one line, getting rid of the first line, of course, and then we can type in the newly cleared last line. So that's what I'm going to try to do. That should only be in these two places, yes. So when we increment Y, we'll compare it to, I really shouldn't use all these magic numbers, right? All these hard-coded constants. I should move these into variables or something, but I'm not doing that right now. That's all right. So let's compare print string cursor Y to 25. Let's say we'll do this, scroll up. It's a little counterintuitive because technically you're scrolling the screen contents upwards, even though you want to say it's scroll down. So I guess I could call it scroll down. It doesn't matter, but we're moving the contents up, so it's kind of weird. This I'm going to call no scroll. So this is bad, but oh well. No, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. So let's put this down here. Put another jump there to end the CR portion. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to copy, well, let's just say copy screen lines. Copy screen lines 1 to 24 into lines 0 to 23, because it's 0 based. Then clear out last line, line 24, and continue printing. Okay. It would be easy to do like move string word or move string byte or whatever from SI to DI. So, but that would involve changing SI and DI, which we're already saving off, but I would need to save it. Save them off and move them back, which I could probably use the stack for that. That'd be okay. So let's do that. Let's push. So let's just do this. We'll push them all and pop them all. There's probably better. I'll probably simplify this later. It's a lot of unneeded code maybe, but let's just push them and then pop them when we end the thing. Just because I want to do this. So we're going to change these things down here. Eventually we'll pop them. In reverse order, and then we'll jump back to the loop. Okay. Okay. So ES should already be set up, but we can do this regardless. Just to make sure they're set equal. DSAX. Alright, XOR DI, XOR SI. Okay, a lot of extra code, but that's alright. SI we want to set equal to line 1 of the screen. And since there's 80 characters in a line and 160 bytes, because each character is 2 bytes, SI we can make 160. If that makes sense. By location of screen line 1, XI or DI will be 0, because we want to move starting at line 1 to 24 into line 0 to 23. So CX we're going to change as well. Let's move it 80 characters per line, but 160 bytes per line. Times, what, 23 lines? 24. 24 is the whole screen. But 0 to 24 is 25. We want to do -1, so it should be 24. This should be line 1 to 24. And then repeat move string word. Will be move string byte if we're doing bytes. So let's do 80. Because then string word would be 2 bytes at a time. Each character is 2 bytes. So 80 characters times 24 lines. That should handle that, hopefully. And then we'll clear out line 24. We can XOR AX. So DI should point to line 24 after this though, right? Okay, so that should already be set up. So let's just move 80 for the final line of 80 characters, and we'll store string word, moving 0 in AX into DI. That should clear, hopefully, line 24. And then we can continue printing through the loop. If it's 25, let's go down here. We're going to decrement. Set equal to line 24. Because 25 isn't valid. Set y equal to line 24. Okay. Okay, so another thing we could do is if we're at the end of the line, we can just say we're going to do a line feed anyway here. So we'll jump equal LF. And that handles that logic here. We don't want to do this. Oh, would this work? Maybe this would work. The line feed would go to this and do this or scroll down. Carriage return goes to carriage return. Otherwise, print the character increment if we're at the end of the line. We're not at the end of the line, go to the next character. Otherwise, we are at the end of the line. So this will be carriage return. And then we'll do the line feed regardless. Yeah, that should work. So let's just see what happens if this works by default. It should. What if we keep on putting DR? That doesn't work past the first time, which is weird. I forgot to change print file table. This needs to be 80. That was probably the issue. But it worked initially, which was interesting. Yeah, now it works. All right. Okay, so that doesn't keep scrolling. Word. Increment word. Let's compare word. Just kind of doing the same things here, of course. Let's do visual mode instead, copy and paste. Put it there. No, I can put it over here. Indentation, it's everyone's best friend. This needs to be print character, not string, of course. Character cursor Y. Other than that, I think we're good. Alright, so now we should be able to keep printing this. Ooh, almost. I mean, it shows up on the screen, but it's a little buggy. This needs to be a repeat store. That's my issue. We need to repeat it 80 times. That's probably my issue. That is definitely probably, if not the issue, it is at least related to the issue. We want to repeat that. Okay, I think the other part, getting rid of the file table heading, was bad, but or probably it's separate from this. Yeah, but that at least clears it. AH17, AL blank, we can try that here. The print string and print character, we can move 17, AH, and a space is 20 in hex. So right now it's, yeah, blue background. White gray foreground, space. Let's make the same change in print character text mode, although again, I don't think this is going to change anything at all. Actually, that did change it. Okay, so I guess because we were moving nulls in for the colors, and even though the background stayed, the foreground was changing to null, so whenever we saved and reloaded the screen info by copying the lines, since those were nulls, the color data wasn't there every time we moved down a line. So I think the data was there for the file heading, but the colors were set to 0, so they were just being blanked out, if that makes sense. So I think that's all right. So let's just keep going down, and let's go to the end of the line and see what happens. Okay, no, that looks good. I think that's, what message is that? Command program not found. It's failure message. If I can type, I can never type. That's print string. So instead of doing equal, let's do greater than or equal to 25. Because there might be some issues with printing on the final line of the screen that isn't catching. So maybe this will catch it. I can't type. Let's go down. So the bottom, that works. But if we go to the end of the screen and then go down and then press enter, see, now that shows up. Okay. But that doesn't work because we don't have semicolon as a valid character to test or not for tokens. So that's why that failed. But we create a new file and test though. Let's do testing, scroll in the editor. Put a bunch of stuff, S. So it doesn't work past this screen. I can return. Okay. Well, we'll have to change the editor, I suppose, to work with scrolling. Because I don't think we're, I think we're handling it outside of there, right? So we're gonna have to look at why that is in the editor, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna say scrolling is okay, in an okay state. We do need to improve it for other stuff, but we kind of got scrolling to work, so that's good. Probably the last thing I'm gonna do today in this session tonight is refactor the print string and character code once again, but it's to get rid of passing in the cursor X and Y values. If I can get that working all right. I want to just pass in the address of the cursor X and Y. I don't want to have to pass in the values. So this way I shouldn't have to return BX and CX everywhere and be messing with, be messing as much with the cursor stuff. So for example, in here we're inputting the row and column value. I want to change these to input addresses, not values, and then get rid of the outputs for the new values. We won't have to output the new values because they'll be in the address, so hopefully they stay in memory and it works. I'm hoping I can do that. Like the first thing we do here is we print string text mode, this, pushing the word 0. So if we change it to push kernel cursor X and kernel cursor Y, those start out at 0. So the row is first. This needs to be Y, this can be X. Okay. And we shouldn't need to do this. What did I... Well, we're using BX and CX for this, so what if we use BX and CX for those? Don't do that. What if we push BX and CX, pop them in reverse order, move that Y value to BX, X value into CX. There's the C. That times 2, put it into AX. Well, we could put something into AX, but it would be the data at CX. It would be like, I don't think I can do this though. That needs to be like BX. I can't use CX as like an offset or a pointer or whatever, indirect addressing. I don't think I can do that in FASM. If I could, it'd be nice though. And I would do that and then add it. But I don't think that works, right? No. Reserved word. But bx I can. Let's reverse these, even though it's confusing. bp plus 4 into bx, because we can use that. And shift left, alright. Let's do that instead. So that being bx. So bx is x, cx is y. Okay, if bx is x, we should be able to increment bx here. The reason I'm commenting it out is because it'll be easier to see later. I can just keep it there until it works, and then I'll delete these lines. I know it makes it annoying, but clutters up the screen. But oh well. This we can't use bx for, though. We have to use something else. Could do dx. Sure, might as well. dx. Might as well. This will be bx. Okay, that does compile, so we're good so far. All right. And copy this stuff down here, or just do this. To do that. Hopefully these I don't have to do either. That's annoying, but that's okay. Move bx, I don't have to do word here. So this is doing basically this a name. Cursor x address. All right. 6 cursor y address. Yeah, we don't need word here. Right, even though I'm putting byte in a bunch of places we don't need byte, we don't really need word there. For x address. So at this point, bx would be bp plus 6. So we should be able to do that, and then set it back to the x address, go back to the loop. So let's just see if it prints heading, which it did not. What happens here? You know, what if we do that? It doesn't print anything out. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's not... This is not true anymore. Let's get rid of that. Let's bp plus 6. I want the data at bx. Times 160. Okay. And we'll move bp plus 4. That might have been the issue. That's a dash. Okay. Good. All right. Leave that one. And there we go, kernel booted. That's good. The cursor didn't move down. Interestingly enough, it should have moved down a bit more. But we probably need to change some more stuff here. Probably need to change some more things like this. We don't need to push the data. That's why. We need to push the address. Okay. Don't need to do this though. Okay, that looks good. All right. Move cursor will still push the values. That's fine, because it doesn't need to change the cursor position. It just needs to know where it's supposed to be. So let me get rid of all this commented out code, because I know that technically works now, hopefully. So not doing that. Row to print to, we'll do address, not value. All right. Make this simple, which is what I wanted to do. Simpler, at least. And it feels good to delete code, especially dead code. That, not valid comments though, don't want to delete those. We don't need print string cursor X and cursor Y anymore though. Yeah. There we go, 112 lines, that's not too bad. So everywhere we call print string, I'm gonna change print string text mode. Call it down there. Don't need to do this. Move cursor we do. So that's all that should be, right? Yeah, okay. This one as well. So I am changing all these again, but it's going to be simpler, like how it should have been to begin with. I don't know why I wanted to do value, not address. I just figured it wouldn't work or something. My brain wasn't good that day. I was on too much hot chocolate. It didn't work very well. So yeah, oh well. Let's see how many times we're calling it. Otherwise, print string text mode. Kernel we did, so the editor, print hex, and registers, and file table. Alright, editor, print string here. I'll have to push cursor values instead. The cursor, do the same thing. Okay. Doing this multiple times in a row. A lot of times in this file. Clean up the calls. It's what I'm doing now, self. Thanks for putting that to-do in, though. I knew I wanted to do that. Print string text mode here. Don't want to do that. Let's put this down here where we go to print it. That to bx. That's an address. So let's push the address. So it'll be pushing y and then x addresses. Then we'll call that. We won't have to do that. Move cursor. We will have to do this though. Or something like this. Probably would be better ways, but oh well. These might have to be words though. Let's just do that. Alright, I should need these. Guess I don't need to put address not value in all of these, but I'm doing it right now. Just need to know it's an address, not a value. That's all. That's all. I don't want those. I don't think I can push AX, can I? If I do. I think it's only BX, right? Yeah, reserved word. Okay. It's alright. I'll just keep doing BX. Yeah, we'll just keep doing that. That's okay. Alright, move cursor will take the values though. So maybe it doesn't seem like it's simplifying that much. I'm still putting a lot of code out. I could have a variable for address. Let's, alright. I guess we'll do that. Oh well, let's do, I don't know, CSR. That's small. Cursor X address. It'll be a word. We'll do Y address. So I'll do what I was doing before. Can't do data to data though, so yeah, we'll move into AX, BP plus 6. BP plus 4 will be the X address. Instead of doing this, we'll push Y address. Alright, I think this will cut down a bit. Probably have to do this same thing though for the values. But it would read better if we did this. Push the address. Change the address again. When we move it, we'll move it there and get the values. Print string needs the addresses. And cursor needs the values. Print hex needs the addresses. It is very boring and very repetitive, but oh well, it's not glamorous. That is okay. bx, print bx value. All right, CX should be good now. Don't need to do that. That we do. Five lines I don't need, but that's okay. Not spend so much time doing this, but you know, I'm not doing that because I don't think that far ahead. No, I don't. That's okay. Right, CS, about done. And DS, we need to do. We are reducing the overall number of lines though, which is good. Less to think about means less bugs. Less to read is always good. Cursor needs the values. Print hex needs the address. ES needs the values. So let's just do move. Or we could just push this. That would accomplish the same thing. Or we can make 0A0D into a string and call print string. Maybe that would be better. Probably would be, to be honest. But I'm not doing that. Okay, 286 lines. That's less than it was. That's good. Then under here, and we'll just do move AX 000D. And, oh yeah, we can just do push word. Operating size not specified, so we do need word in there. Oh, that's fun. Guess we'll just do that. You get a rhythm going. Dun 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 dun. This is a lot of play. This is where global find replace would work. Instead of doing this, pattern not found. Good. Okay. Undefined symbol. We want to use this stuff anyway. Alright, that kind of works. Kind of. It's not going to work when we try to print it though. Yep. That's okay. But we're going to change print character text mode. Sorry, print character text mode to be similar. Don't want those. This will be address, not value. All right. This will be bx. Row to print 2 in bytes. No, let's be bp plus 4. Okay. Otherwise, we'll do dx. Yeah, move the y address, increment bx. I'll move that back. bx 0, okay. So it's y when it goes scroll down. All right, so this can be bx. I don't think I have to do this line here in the character because it's only one character, but we'll just do it to be consistent till we're sure we don't need it. So 100 lines, that's good. That's less than it was. And we'll restore them. Is there a print string in here? There is, right here. Don't want to do that. It's not a kernel only include file because it's also in the editor, so let's get rid of that. Okay, these will be addresses. File table cursor X and Y, that should be okay. I'm gonna make it CSR though. Just for no reason other than to have to retype it everywhere that they appear, which will force me to double check where I'm using it and correct it. We'll still have to move it and push it though for the values, which is annoying, but that's okay. Now, move this. File table cursor Y, and then we will push word BX. And then we'll do X. Okay. So this has a lot of print character text mode in it, so I'll have to change all of these. Fun. That's alright. And we'll have to hope not everything breaks. Everything will probably break. Rid of that, don't need that anymore. File size. Maybe I should make a little move cursor subroutine that we call and return. That would free up some space in this file. I might do that. After it works, I can do that. Because that would shorten it a bit. I'm not smart, that's why I'm doing all this manual work. If I was smart, it would have been done by now. Okay, 301 lines. Hopefully it's smaller than it was. I think it is. But other areas will still be broken from the print character text mode calls. Like in the kernel, but it does print that. All uses of print string text mode everywhere should be changed now to use addresses and not values. Now I have to change where we use print character text mode everywhere. So let's see where that is. Grab recursive subdirectories, call print character text mode. So editor, kernel, and the file table. I changed the file table and registers. Kernel, it's only in like 4 places, so we'll just do that. Because I was going to do it anyway. Here, input character screen, yep. We want to pass the address. Alright, calling it down here as well. But when we move, we just have to push those values. Again, addresses. A new line when we're done. Yeah, why do I keep doing that? I just have to do that. Oh, this needs to be 000D. Characters, those are the only places, alright. In the kernel at least. So now can I do, oh, dir. Okay, the prompt does not come back. Oh, update cursor position. No, don't do that. This is why. There we go. Print file table should just take the address. Yep. Okay. That was why. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, I figured out my issue. Didn't take too long. Here, this was like this, right? When I'm taking in the addresses of x and y. And I'm moving them to variables that should hold the address. But here I'm pushing the variable names. So I'm pushing the address of y and x instead of their data, which is the value that is the actual address I want to change. So these need to have brackets around them. I need the data there. The data in this variable is the address. So that allows the heading to print correctly. Okay. Let's see what else breaks. So it prints it at the top, which is weird, and then the other things are bad. Print character to screen, print character text mode. Yep, these have to be brackets. I don't know, maybe I think I just overlooked what I was doing. I was thinking about the kernel where I just have to pass the variable name itself as the address instead of here where I'm using a variable to hold the address. I have to pass the data. That's probably all I was doing. So I was just getting rid of those willy-nilly and not thinking about it. Alright, that's okay. That's just a lot of brackets we have to add, but that is alright. Let's just start at the beginning. Every time we call print underscore. That one's correct. That one's correct. That one's correct. That one's not. So this isn't too bad. Just add brackets around everything. Vim is great because it lets me do it fairly easily. Except when you mess up. Okay. Bam, there we go. Look at that. Now does it keep working and scroll? Looks like it. Now print register is broken, but that's alright. Okay, let's change print registers. We want to pass addresses. So assuming we did pass the address all right, cursor Y and X. That should be fine. Is it in the kernel then? Yes, this needs to be the address. We don't have to do that. There we go. Coolio, cool beans. So let's, I do kind of want to move the register heading within the print register file though. I think that makes more sense. I just think that makes more sense. This be X address, print string, move cursor. Okay. Wait, no. I have to put the variable in there. Bring it back up. Bring that file back up. I didn't say you could go away. Bring it back. Print rake heading. There we go. Do that actually. Hey, there we go. Okay, cool. So the only other file is the editor, right? Let's change the editor for print character text mode. Yep, that should be all right. When we move the cursor, we don't need to push BX and CX though. Don't need to do that. Let's do one thing at a time. Use this a lot in the editor, looks like. That is all right. Second byte, push that, increment X, and then push the address. Don't do that. And the same thing here, but for space. I hate that if there's red for not matching bracket or whatever because of M and color scheme, whatever I'm using. The white is the cursor disappears on that bracket, so I can't tell the cursor's on there or not. It's annoying. I mean, you can tell, but it's just, it throws me for a loop. I'm like, where'd the cursor go? Don't do that to me. Input file name. Almost at the end of this file. 92%. Should only be, oh, that was the last spot. Alright, move cursor. That one's alright. Some of these aren't alright, like this. We need to push. Push word cursor Y, push word cursor X. we'll just do the same thing. Just type it all out again, because you didn't save the previous thing you did, even though it's right above. We'll save it now. Okay, so we can do everything now and scroll and all. Files are a little bit smaller. Just a little bit. That doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it does. It's, we load the file table, right, before we do that. Print file table, yep, I need to get rid of these. There we go. And then it moves the cursor by itself, so we don't need to do that, right? Yeah. Take a breather, think about what you're typing, and then type it. And then, hey, magically it kind of works. There we go. Okay. Just trying to check if this loads. And it does load. Although it doesn't return well, which is interesting. I guess these have wacky values in them or something. I guess they would. Yeah, because they'd still be set from when we called the editor. So I guess we could set the kernel x and y to 0 when we jump to a program, then when we come back. There it was, jump up here. Let's just, yeah. These will be changed, so before then. YYP, there we go. Okay. Okay, I want to edit something. I want to load. I want to load the file table. I want to go back. There we go. Okay, so printing characters and strings works by pressing the address, passing the address of cursor X and Y now. That seems to work. Scrolling works. And I'm working with the hard drive now, hardcoding 80 hex for hard drive instead of floppy. So technically we're doing hard drive and not floppy now. That's about all I wanted to do today. It took me about 3.5, 4 hours, so it'll be more to edit down. That's okay. What do I want to do next? Actually, make the calculator right. So let me do that. I'll have to do some more research. I'm going to make a couple test programs that won't be on the recording for a basic parser tokenizer for the calculator. I'll probably do it in C and then assembly. And then when I get that working all right, I'll record a video on that because in the calculator, we'll want to tokenize, if the user enters like 10 plus parentheses, 5 plus 2 in parentheses, press enter, we'll want to tokenize that into like a number 10, and then the operator plus the parentheses will be like the start of an expression. An expression can be like a number plus a number, say, and then we'll end the parentheses in the expression, and then we'll return because the line will be empty, or they pressed enter. And then we'll have to parse it out into like, numbers and expressions and then evaluate them and return it to the user on screen. So yeah, I'll make a basic parser, make the calculator. And then after that, we can go and maybe write a basic keyboard driver. I don't want to write an interrupt service routine because I want to go to 32-bit mode, and that uses an interrupt vector table or descriptor table. So when we use a global descriptor table in 32-bit, I'll probably want to make an interrupt descriptor table, but I don't want to use software interrupts. So int 16h will be keyboard. I can implement basic polling. So when we're supposed to enter a key, we can take keys from the data ports, which is bad on CPU time because we're just sitting there waiting, polling, but it's bounded by our application. We're only taking like 10 characters at a time for a name and stuff like that until they press enter. So that's okay. So we can do that. We can replace int 16 maybe after we do calculator. And then int 13 for disk functions, I'll replace with ports, probably the ATA ports if that works. And then there shouldn't be any more interrupts, and we can go to 32-bit mode and then use Visa BIOS extensions and get a bigger screen. I think I'm going to aim for 1080p or 720p. or have the user choose, and then we'll go from there. I'll do other fun stuff, custom font at that time, and I'll have to change how the printing all works to be with graphics mode and pixels instead of with characters and text mode. So that'll take a lot as well. But yeah, that's what's coming up. Maybe fixing up the editors and maybe some other stuff in there after that. But that's what's coming up soon. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next one. So I'm going to finish my beer. Cheers.